A little over 30 hours after the voting for the fave team kicked off, the one in the lead right now is probably the most unusual lineup, Team Pew Pew. But what surprises me is why there's still no announcement about the winner of the best character vote, but that's just me rambling. As we all know, the new adventure is going to be a shootout between 3 teams, Pew Pew, Unmasked, and Bad Guys. Pew Pew's got Kinger and Ragatha, Unmasked's got Zooble and Gangle, and of course some of the most important characters for the new episode are in Bad Guys. And if you didn't catch it, yeah, I'm talking about Jax and Pomni, and it's only logical that Kane's going to be watching over all of this. And if we remember that teaser, where photos of our characters were scattered around, even back then, we could have guessed each team's lineup, cause Glitch gave us a pretty subtle hint about it. On top of that, there's a myth floating around about that teaser right now, and I'm gonna bust it in the bonus part of the video, so make sure you watch till the end. Since we know for sure that each character is gonna have 3 lives, and each one gets taken away if they get hit, it's only logical that some team from this list's gotta win. And even though most fans are rooting for Team Pew Pew, today we're gonna dig deep into the personalities, skills, and of course, the logical chain that's important for the plot moving forward, and finally figure out which team's gonna be the most ruthless toward the others and snatch their well-deserved gold medal. I already told you the lineup for each team, so let's start with something light, like Team Unmasked. In the trailer, we saw that while Zooble's at least trying to fight back against the others and could probably even take a couple lives from someone, Gangle, as usual, does nothing except sit in the corner, cry, and flinch at every bullet. A so-called soldier like that's clearly not going to help much in reaching the main goal. But if we look at Zooble, it's pretty obvious that in some scenes she also looks kind of sad, and that's already a huge problem for Unmasked, because if Zooble starts getting gloomy along with Gangle, this team's in for some serious trouble. Still, I'm more than sure those scenes are tied to yet another round of talks with Gangle, and it's super unlikely we'll be seeing Zooble like that through the whole episode. But even in the most optimistic scenarios, I don't see a single one where Unmasked could actually win, only if Pew Pew and Bad Guys end up wiping each other out. Still, like I've already said, Zooble's definitely going to stir things up in episode 6, and it still won't help them win, because if you think about it, Zooble's pretty level-headed and calm, and totally gets that these bullets aren't going to cause them any real pain, let alone death, so there's no reason to fear for their life. That's why I think Zooble's gonna hunt down just one character and completely ignore the rest, and of course, I'm talking about Jax. If we sum it up for now, this adventure's gonna be absolutely meaningless for Unmasked, and they'll just calmly take a full loss in this shootout, landing their quiet 3rd place just like in the favorite team vote. So, with the so-called pacifists out of the way, now we're getting to the real heat. I'm first going to tell you the strengths and weaknesses of Pew Pew and Bad Guys, and then I'll answer the main question of this video. I already told you that Pew Pew's made up of Kinger and Ragatha, and this kind of weird team lineup is basically because they just didn't have a choice. Everyone else already knew who they were going to team up with even before the teams were officially announced. And yeah, the weak spot here is definitely Ragatha, because in the whole trailer I only saw her holding a gun once. Most of the time she's running away, scared, sad, and catching bullets. And it seems like her partner's a total lunatic who sometimes doesn't even get what the conversation's about. With that in mind, Pew Pew looks like the obvious underdog, but if we think back to episode 3...
Problem this way too!
Just leave it to me. I can handle this. Well, that wasn't so bad.
That's where things get a lot more interesting, cause Kinger's actually one of the best shooters in the digital circus. A guy who can pull his head together at the exact moment it's needed. Episode 3 shows it perfectly, where in a dangerous moment, when he had to protect someone else, he managed to calm down, focus, and easily handle a threat way bigger than just a few residents of the amazing digital circus. I think the turning point's gonna be some kind of meltdown from Ragatha, cause she's scared of everything going on around her, and that's when this guy is gonna show what he's really capable of. And of course, the most hyped up, let's say, collab is in Team Bad Guys, and I'm 1,000,000% sure that brutal and honestly kinda overused name was cooked up by that purple dude who finally got his tail back. Honestly, I don't see any weak spots in this team, and even though Pomni was scared to pick up a gun at first, once Jax gave her a little training, we saw a version of Pomni so fierce that even the evil Pomni just quietly chills in the corner while our Jester's having a blast. If we look back at that scene again, it's clear Jax, just like Kinger, is a top-notch shooter, and judging by that love for weapons we've seen before,
I'm going to be hunting the critically endangered red ribbon rhinoceros. Ah, just like Mom used to make. All right, Gangle. When we catch up to him, I'll jump over, crawl inside, and shoot him repeatedly until they're unrecognizable.
We get that in the real world, he'd definitely be a regular at some shooting range. And if we add in Pomni, who's basically gone wild with her new skills, it honestly feels rough for the other characters because those two ain't gonna show any mercy to their so-called friends. Given everything we just said and the fact that episode 6 is mostly gonna be about Jax, his relationship with Pomni, and his past, I think it's pretty logical to assume this team's gonna come out on top thanks to their skills and ruthlessness, while Pew Pew takes second place by a small margin. And if we think about who might get taken out in this shootout, Gangle and Zooble come to mind right away. Maybe Regath'll get hit by Jax. Kinger's got a 99% chance to survive this new adventure, and Jax and Pomni will come out intact at the end. The only thing left to guess is how many lives they'll still have. All that was the logical and most likely way things will go down. But hey, we totally have the right to imagine stuff. And let's be real, if for some reason Jax gets taken out, it'd be way more interesting to watch how the story unfolds after that, and how it'd affect his friendship with Pomni. Also, I got this idea on how to make this adventure way more interesting and intense, and even though it probably won't happen, I gotta share my crazy theory of the perfect adventure based on what the episode 6 trailer showed us. We all noticed lately that Kane's been losing it more and more, and it'd be cool if, to hype things up and get us more into Kane's adventure, our sharp-toothed admin cooked up a secret punishment for the first one to lose all 3 lives. And as scary as that sounds, that punishment could very well be getting abstracted, and that'd really crank up the heat of the battle to a whole new level, making episode 6 legendary. But like I said, that's unlikely. Though considering Ragatha's mental state recently, and the fact we saw her lose one of her lives, it's pretty likely she'd be the first to turn into an abstracted monster shown in full detail. Either way, every digital Circus trailer just scratches the surface, and what'll really go down is still a mystery. And remember how I promised to bust some myths around the new episode, including that teaser with the team photos. Some fans got hung up on the direction the gun's barrel was pointing, and because it was aimed at Jax, they started guessing something awful's definitely gonna happen to him. But here's where it gets crazy. Lots of folks noticed this weird ashtray with a kind of mysterious M on it. But it all makes sense if we go back to episode 3, where we already saw that same ashtray with that exact letter. On top of that, lots of folks remembered that some minor AI characters can pop up in multiple adventures, like Gummigoo did in episodes 2 and 4, or Orbsman. We got a clear hint that characters have run into him before. Putting all that together, some fans started guessing that something awful might happen to Jax at the hands of that mysterious Martha Mildenhall. Honestly, that sounds like a pretty far-fetched theory to me. Basically, that teaser just revealed the team lineups for the new adventure early on, and those same photos will be checked out by Kane later with interest. And that ashtray? It just fits the vibe of the teaser real well and is nothing more than a simple Easter egg. And finally, here's some food for thought. Have you ever wondered why Jax got that, let's say, special gun? Because if you look closely, everyone else's weapons are pretty normal, if you can even call them that, and Jax's is that golden gun? Drop your guesses and overall thoughts on the video in the comments, and catch you soon.